"May I have your leftovers, sir?" But when the billionaire looked into her desperate eyes, what happened next shocked everyone. The entire restaurant fell silent. Every fork stopped midair. Every conversation died. Security guards reached for their radios. Wealthy diners pulled out phones, ready to capture what they assumed would be a scandal. But what happened next would make headlines around the world and change 3 lives forever. Azure Restaurant, Manhattan's most exclusive dining establishment, where billionaires decide company fates over dessert, where someone like Tanya Davis wasn't supposed to exist. At table 17 sat Michael Brooks, tech empire worth $12 billion. But behind those steel-gray eyes was a man who hadn't truly lived in 7 years. Not since the house fire that took his wife Catherine and twin daughters. Michael stared at his untouched salmon Wellington, worth $300. He reached for his vintage Bordeaux when suddenly, "Excuse me, sir. May I have your leftovers?" Time stopped. Michael turned and saw her, early 20s, natural hair pulled back, second-hand coat, worn shoes. In her arms, a baby, 8 months old, wrapped in a yellow blanket soft from washing. The baby's wide brown eyes locked onto Michael's plate. The child made a tiny sound, not crying, but pleading, like he understood this moment mattered. The reaction was instant and ugly. Whispers erupted. "How did she get past security? Someone call the manager. That baby probably isn't even hers." 2 servers rushed toward their table. Phone cameras appeared at distant tables, ready to document what everyone assumed would be an embarrassing scene. But Michael raised his hand. One gesture that stopped everyone. When you're worth $12 billion, even silence commands attention. He studied this young woman's face. No desperation, no performance, just quiet dignity and fierce maternal protectiveness. The baby reached toward the warm food with tiny fingers, completely innocent. That gesture hit Michael like lightning, reminding him of bedtime stories and everything he'd lost. "Take it," he said softly. The collective gasp was audible. Instead of grabbing the food desperately, this young mother did something extraordinary. She reached into her bag and pulled out a clean cloth. With movements so careful they seemed sacred, she began wrapping the salmon like treasure. The baby, Isaiah, she would later tell him, gurgled with happiness as she knelt and fed him small pieces with a plastic spoon. His face lit up with pure joy, clapping tiny hands together. "Ma'am, I need to ask you to dash." The head waiter found his voice. "She's with me," Michael interrupted, his tone leaving zero room for argument. "Bring a high chair." The waiter went white. "Yes, sir. Right away." But the watching crowd wasn't impressed. Their whispers grew crueler. "Absolutely inappropriate. She's obviously playing him. This is why the neighborhood is declining." Michael's jaw tightened. This wasn't just about hunger. This was about how quickly compassion turned to suspicion when it involved someone who looked different. The young woman heard every word. Michael watched her shoulders tense, saw her hold Isaiah closer. But she didn't respond to the cruelty. She just continued feeding her son with infinite patience. When Isaiah seemed full, she carefully packed the remaining food, adjusted his blanket, and stood. She looked at Michael with eyes holding both gratitude and weary recognition that kindness was rare. "Thank you," she said simply. She turned toward the exit. But Michael felt something he hadn't experienced in 7 years, the desperate need to know someone was safe. Without thinking, he stood, placed his napkin down, and followed her into the night. If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and won't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We are just a small channel trying to grow. And do not forget to comment where you're watching from. Thank you, and back to our video. The autumn air cut sharp as Michael stepped onto the sidewalk, scanning until he spotted her half a block away. "Wait," he called out. She turned, surprised. "You followed me? I needed to know you were safe." She studied him in the streetlight glow. "Why would you care? What's your name?" he asked instead. "Tanya," she replied after hesitating. "This is Isaiah. I'm Michael. Where are you staying tonight?" Her laugh was bitter. "We have a place." Michael had built his fortune reading people. Her evasive answer told him everything. "Show me," he said gently. They walked for blocks, leaving gleaming towers for grittier streets. Tanya led him to a parking garage, stopping beside a 15-year-old Honda Civic. "This is it," she said. Michael stared, understanding flooding through him. The back seat had been converted into a makeshift bedroom. Blankets, a pillow, baby supplies in a cardboard box. "How long?" he asked quietly. 3 months, Tanya replied, settling inside with Isaiah. "The heat works most of the time." "What happened?" "I was a sophomore at NYU, Tanya began, feeding Isaiah formula. "Full scholarship, studying education. Then I got pregnant. His father transferred schools and blocked my number. My parents said I'd ruined everyone's life, adoption or homelessness. I chose Isaiah." Michael felt anger building at a world that forced impossible choices on young mothers. "I tried staying in school. 3 jobs, childcare when I could afford it. But when Isaiah needed surgery, medical bills wiped out everything." "So you chose your son," Michael said. "I chose my son," she confirmed proudly. "I'd make the same choice again. Why not a shelter? They're not safe for women with babies. Too many desperate people, too little space. We're safer here." Michael tried imagining one night in such conditions and failed. "Let me get you a hotel room, just tonight. Somewhere warm and safe. I don't take charity." Then think of it as one parent helping another. Something in his tone made her study his face. "You have children?" "I did. Twin daughters. House fire, 7 years ago." Her expression softened. "I'm sorry. Sorry it took meeting you and Isaiah to remember what caring felt like." They sat quietly, watching Isaiah drift towards sleep despite harsh surroundings. "One night," Michael said again. After a long moment, she nodded. "One night. But this doesn't make me your responsibility." As they walked toward his car, Michael realized helping Tanya wasn't about charity. It was about recognizing her humanity in a world determined to ignore it. 9 months later, Michael's penthouse echoed with Isaiah's laughter instead of silence. What started as temporary help had become something beautiful, and something the world wasn't ready to accept. Tanya had returned to NYU with a scholarship for single mothers. Isaiah thrived in daycare. Michael discovered joy in ordinary moments, first steps, past exams, Sunday mornings reading while Isaiah played. But their happiness hadn't gone unnoticed. Photos appeared online 3 months earlier, Michael and Tanya leaving Isaiah's pediatrician, looking like a family. Within hours, social media exploded. Headlines: Tech billionaire's midlife crisis, gold digger strikes rich, charity case or love story? Comments were worse. Speculation about Tanya's motives. Accusations that made Michael's blood boil. Tanya handled scrutiny with amazing grace. She didn't respond to articles or engage with criticism. She studied, cared for Isaiah, and slowly allowed herself to believe happiness was possible. But the attention took its toll. She checked over her shoulder in public, insisted on separate cars, sometimes withdrew when commentary became harsh. The breaking point came on a Thursday afternoon. Tanya was grocery shopping with Isaiah when a woman approached with phone recording, demanding answers about her relationship with that rich white man, and accusing her of using her baby to manipulate a grieving billionaire. Other shoppers joined the confrontation. Isaiah cried from the chaos. Security escorted them out while the woman continued filming. The video went viral in hours. That evening, Michael found Tanya in Isaiah's nursery, holding him while he slept. "I'm thinking about leaving," she said without preamble. Michael's heart stopped. "Why? This isn't fair to anyone. You don't deserve reputation destruction for helping someone. Isaiah doesn't deserve growing up with people questioning whether his mother is a gold digger. What if I don't care about my reputation?" "I care," Tanya said firmly. "I care about Isaiah thinking this judgment is normal. What if there was a way to change the narrative? People see what they want. Then let me show them who you really are." 2 weeks later, Michael appeared on America's most watched interview program. No publicists, no scripts, just truth. 7 years ago, I lost my wife and daughters in a tragedy that nearly destroyed me, he began. I built walls so high around my heart that I forgot what hope felt like. I existed, but didn't live. Then you met Tanya Davis. I met a woman who reminded me what real strength looks like, Michael corrected. Tanya didn't ask for money. She asked for leftovers to feed her child. In that moment, I saw something I'd forgotten: unconditional love. Some question her motives. Some people, Michael interrupted, have never watched someone maintain dignity while the world judges circumstances beyond their control. They've never seen someone sacrifice everything for their child while asking nothing back. His voice grew passionate. Tanya didn't take advantage of my grief. She saved me from it. She reminded me that love isn't something you lose when tragedy strikes. It's something you choose to give every day. But the differences between you are irrelevant, Michael said firmly. What matters is she taught me humanity again. Her son calls me daddy, and means it. We've built something real, not through money, but by choosing each other daily. He looked into cameras. I'm not Tanya's savior. She's not my charity project. We're family. If that makes people uncomfortable, that reveals more about them than us. The interview changed everything. Narrative shifted from suspicion to support. Donations poured into organizations helping homeless mothers. 6 months later, on a crisp autumn evening in Central Park, Michael knelt beside the pond where he used to bring his daughters. I know our story isn't conventional, Michael said, voice thick with emotion. People will always have opinions. But you and Isaiah gave me reason to believe in tomorrow again. He opened a velvet box, revealing a simple ring. I'm not asking you to be grateful for what I've given. I'm asking to spend my life being grateful for what you've given me. Will you marry me? Tanya nodded through tears, speechless. As Michael slipped the ring on her finger, Isaiah abandoned leaf chasing to wrap arms around Michael's leg. Daddy, he announced proudly. Michael's heart swelled with love he'd thought impossible to experience again. Their wedding 3 months later brought together an extraordinary gathering, faces of every color and background, united in believing love could transcend any barrier society built. You didn't just ask for my leftovers that night, Michael said during vows. You offered me a place at a table I didn't know I was starving for, where love is the only currency that matters, where family is defined by choice, where second chances exist for anyone brave enough to reach for them. His voice broke slightly. You taught me healing isn't about forgetting the past. It's about being brave enough to build a future. Every day, I choose building that future with you. As they kissed and the crowd celebrated, Isaiah clapped from the front row, recognizing surrounding joy. Their story's impact reached far beyond personal happiness. The interview sparked national conversation about homelessness and single motherhood. Michael and Tanya quietly helped dozens of young mothers, creating a foundation providing scholarships and housing assistance. Tanya graduated NYU with honors, becoming an elementary school teacher specializing in children from difficult circumstances. Michael discovered success meant more than building business empires. It meant using privilege to lift others up. Isaiah grew up knowing he was loved unconditionally by 2 parents who chose each other and chose him every single day. 5 years later, they returned to Azure for their anniversary. As they sat at the same table where it all began, Isaiah, now 7, colored quietly while his parents reminisced. Do you remember what you were thinking when I asked for your leftovers? Tanya asked. Michael smiled, touching her hand. I was thinking about how empty everything felt, how I'd forgotten what it meant to care about anyone else's pain. And now I think about how full life can be when you open your heart to unexpected possibilities. How love can come from the most unlikely places if you're brave enough to recognize it. Isaiah looked up from coloring. Daddy, tell me the story again about how you and Mommy met. As Michael told their story, other diners occasionally glanced over, recognizing them. But the looks now were different: curiosity, sometimes admiration. Their love story had become proof that transformation was possible, that people could change, that society could grow. When they left the restaurant, a young homeless woman with a baby approached hesitantly. Excuse me, she said softly. I saw you on TV. Could you tell me where I might find help? Without hesitation, Tanya knelt to the woman's level, spoke gently about resources, gave her their foundation's contact information. Michael watched his wife's compassion, remembering why he'd fallen in love with her strength. As they helped the young mother into a taxi to a safe shelter, Isaiah asked, "Are we helping her like Daddy helped us?" "We're helping her like people should help people," Tanya replied, "because everyone deserves kindness." Walking home through city streets, their family strong and secure, Michael reflected on how one moment of choosing compassion over indifference had changed not just their lives, but rippled out to touch countless others. Their story proved that love doesn't see color or class or circumstance. It sees need and responds. It sees pain and offers healing. It sees potential and nurtures growth. And it all began with 6 words that taught the world about courage, dignity, and the transformative power of unexpected love. May I have your leftovers, sir? If you enjoyed our story, hit the subscribe button for more inspiring stories, and don't forget to like and share.